let's not talk more about it. I don't want more people to know about it.
But still, this is what distribution looks like.
And the only thing that actually matters here, what you care about, is APYs.
And the core thesis is very simple. Solana go up. We should have covered this a little bit sooner, but you saw this tweet, right? What the heck?
Solana is on fire, dancer. Welcome to Sol Brothers, where it is our job to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to make sure that you stay on top of the latest and greatest on Solana so that you never run out of the fun things to talk about. Simon, we just finished a wonderful episode with Ohm, and now we are on the second half of the podcast where we're talking about all the amazing things that have happened on Solana. Bear market, bull market, crab market, doesn't matter. We are always here. What's going on? What's cooking? Good looking?
Well, a lot is going on. Honestly, I have a bunch of things I want to touch on here in the pod. We have a packed agenda for this week as well. It is EP 35 of Sol Brothers podcast. If you are listening to this right now, if you're tuning in right now, thanks for being a part of this journey. And just a little heads up as well. If you are watching this on Twitter, there is content as well on YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will see all the beautiful long form formats and whatever else we're shipping in the future. And you can even tune into Sol Brothers Pod on Apple and Spotify whenever you are in the train, commuting in your car, taking a walk, taking a shit, whatever you're doing, just plug in and listen to Sol Brothers Pod for the latest and greatest on Solana. And let me tell you, there is a lot of latest and a lot of greatest. I don't even know where to start, but we're going to call this EP, Solana is on fire. Dancer, because that is one thing we want to talk about, and it is almost true. Solana is not really on fire dancer yet. A little disclaimer here, okay, but we're getting there. We're making progress. So I think that would be the first topic I'd like to touch on. What do you think,
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to go into the most comfortable part of the podcast, or are we cutting that today for time?
We will cut it for time probably.
Okay.
And just talk a little bit about the news on Solana, and if we have time at the end after we run through the most latest and greatest, and you're still on the pod listening to the rest of the EP, then I'll give you a quick rundown of where we're at right now in the market.
Absolutely. Perfect. So this is reported by Solana 4, but we have Fire Dancer, which is developed by Jump, kind of a competitor to all of the developments that are being made over at Anza. But still, they have 8.48% of all total stake on Solana. So we're talking 33 million worth of SOL has been staked with Fire Dancer. And out of the 1,270 validators on Solana, 93 of them are running the Fire Dancer client. So that's about 7%. For client software that hasn't exactly been fully vetted, this is, I mean, not vetted, but fully operationalized and put out into the wild. Mm-hmm. This is very, very impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, just a little bit of background here as well. The validator ecosystem on Solana is pretty strong. We're not as centralized anymore as Solana used to be. It was like the reputation of the Solana ecosystem always from some of the other forks, from other chains. They said, oh yeah, Solana is so centralized. Like the hardware you need to run your validators is so expensive. No one can do it. Everything happens in one geography. But hey, let me tell you, we do have incentive systems right now in place that incentivize validators run in all kinds of geographies. So if you set up your validator in a different geography, you might get some delegation of SOL from some programs we have on Solana, and they will basically, that's an incentive to be more decentralized. And then the machines you need to actually run the validator can be rented as well for as little as like 1 point something K per month, which is a small business operation that is not too unrealistic to spin up, right? So it's not easy to have a profitable validator business on Solana. That's one thing I want to make clear, but it is possible, and it is it's not easy money, but it's possible. And also, programs like Fire Dancer will bring us to the next level. Why? Because currently Solana is running on the Agave client, which is pretty performant and already does a very good job. But Fire Dancer will bring us to the next level, together with Alpenglow, which will launch later this year as well fully. I think it's going to be insane, because right now we're already having a fast and cheap blockchain. That were the two main selling points that attracted builders to come here. With Firedancer and Alpenglow, we're gonna fucking go to a whole different level here. Okay, so I think people don't get that yet. Is this gonna be bullish for price action? Potentially. Is this bullish for the tech? 100%, right? And 8% stake is already pretty good. And last comment on this. Firedancer is also subsidizing people right now to run the Firedancer client. And you can see it in the Solana Floor tweet here as well. You actually get 20,000 SOL delegated to your validator if you are running Firedancer instead of Agave right now. So a lot of validators are on that path right now, including us as well with Solana ID. And we want to switch to Firedancer, which might require a little bit of more performant hardware. Okay, that's the little caveat here. But once you have it, you get the 20K SOL delegated to your validator, which helps you to be more profitable.
So just for people who aren't aware of this, like Simon, obviously, because we have a lot of new faces on the Sol. Hello, everybody that's joining from the SNS community. Thank you very much for being here on the stream. But for those of you who don't know, like, and you've been living under a rock, because Simon is the co-founder of Solana ID, and as a part of working on Solana ID, he actually runs his own validator for Solana ID. And if I'm not mistaken, you've attracted over 50,000 SOL stake into your validator in about like a month or two. Which is
2 months.
extremely, extremely impressive. Like anybody who's tried to attract stake before will understand. Like, I mean, it's not like Simon is starting off with a silver spoon in his mouth and like he's getting, for example, like Austin Federa, like $500 million worth of SOL into 0.0, right?
That'd be great.
Right. I also would like $500 million in SOL from.
Hit me up. Yeah.
Hey Austin, could I change?
Give you a free Solana ID.
Any spare SOL?
I want a meme like that actually, like
dude
on the street somewhere, like begging for SOL.
If you only got like 1 or 2% of his allocation, like you could just basically run Solana ID on passive income until PMF. Basically, you know what I mean? But yeah,
interesting.
So were you incentivized to like? So one thing that was a little unclear to me in the tweet is that it is 20K SOL per person, right? Just to be really clear here.
Per validator.
Yeah. Oh, per validator. I see. And so are you already running the Firedancer client or?
We're just upgrading our hardware. So because if you are running your hardware on a specific, amount of performance you have in your servers, then it's going to be tough to run Firedancer reliably, and you don't want any off time, right, of your validator. This will probably hurt you and take away stake you already have. So that's why it's a bit too dangerous to use medium performant hardware. So right now we're upgrading it, and once you upgraded your hardware, either you go into higher price plan of your rented server, or you just buy your own hardware with better performance, and that could bring you then closer to being able to run Firedancer reliably. It's not trivial, I have to say. You have to have a good person, technical person that can set it up, and you'll have to have the right hardware for it, and then you can apply for the program.
I see. Well, I mean, if you're a validator, you already know all this information.
Not necessarily.
Right? Not necessarily.
Actually,
okay.
Yeah, because it's one of it has been quite underrated, this program. Like not a lot of people knew that this happens, and let's not talk more about it. I don't want more people to know about it because I want to get in the first 100 validators still, once our hardware is ready. And right now we're already at 30. So what's next on the agenda,
So next up, we have a huge update in the world of stablecoins. MasterCard has joined the Global Dollar Network, allowing institutions to mint USDG stablecoin while also adding support for the recently launched FIUSD on Solana by Fiserv, expanding stablecoin use across payments and remittance. So this is really fascinating because I think one thing that we've noticed strategically is that in the first few years of Solana's inception, USDC was the favored stablecoin, right? Like it was the stablecoin that we used on FTX, rest in peace, or the opposite of that. Anyways, but But USDC, the reason why USDC won on Solana is because that was the stablecoin that was used for all the liquidity pools for FTX, right? And then they continued that relationship for years. Like you go to all the hacker houses and all these events. You remember, right? Like all the even Breakpoint last year over in Singapore. I mean, the Circle booth. It wasn't a booth. It was like it was like 20% of the showroom. It was huge, right? The Circle area. But what we've noticed at Accelerate is that it looks like global dollar is actually making huge movements in Solana. I noticed that there's also like global dollar liquidity pools that are popping up just about everywhere. And now MasterCard is working with the global dollar network. That is a huge update to the kind of stablecoin world in Solana. Do you think that will ever shake Circle dominance here?
It could, right? It could. I mean, it's all like if you want to break into an industry that already has some sort of monopolies in there, you can only do it by distribution, right? If you crack distribution, and if you probably find the right networks to distribute your asset, when it's about assets like in this case. So yeah, the global dollar, actually something I'm not super familiar with, USDG. It is it's a stable coin similar to USDC, pegged to the US dollar, and was introduced by the global dollar network, which is actually a consortium of some fintechs that includes Robinhood, Kraken, Galaxy Digital. So there's a few companies in there, also Paxos, actually, interestingly. And it's been around since a while, not too old, I think November 2024. And it seems like a powerful group of of people that want to push USDG adoption, and joining MasterCard and their distribution network might be a good idea to at least compete with Tether, USDT, or USDC, which are right now 90% of market cap in stables.
That is, I think, a huge existential risk to the ecosystem, is to rely too heavily on a single stablecoin. And in fact, as you mentioned, the name of the game is distribution. You are 100% correct. So what exactly is Global Dollar doing to try to improve distribution of their stablecoin? Well, obviously incentives, right? This is the same playbook that PayPal ran. You remember that, right? Like PayPal was incentivizing all the protocols, including Lulo and Camino, and I believe Solend, now rebranded to Save. And basically, like, incentives go into like APY, right? So Camino gave massive boosts to Global Dollar with all incentives. Currently, the highest APY on stables. But even though Camino appears to be providing the boosts, it's not Camino. It's clearly coming out of Global Dollar's pocket into Camino's pocket, and then they get a cut of that. But then they're putting the majority of that into APY. Or maybe they're not getting a cut of it, and it's just simply that they're trying to incentivize more users of the platform. But still, this is what distribution looks like.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of developments in the validator world, we probably should have covered this a little bit sooner, but you saw this tweet, right? What the heck?
What happened?
The largest high school in America, so it's Brooklyn Technical High School over in New York, is now operating a Solana validator with over $2 million in stake already. So you've seen the movie Spider-Man, obviously, with Tom Holland, the newest versions of it.
Yeah.
Well, you remember in the movie, like, his high school is like this technical high school. It's a sciences high school. It's like all the students there are very big brained. They're into robotics or AI or whatever their specialization is. It's based on a real high school, and that high school is called Brooklyn Technical High School. It is the largest high school in America. And it makes sense. Like,
I haven't seen the validator news. That's crazy.
Yeah, but it makes sense that, like, okay, if you could imagine like any high school that would run its own validator, it would be Spider-Man's high school, 100%. You know what I mean? Like, the people in that high school, like, obviously they would be smart enough to run their own validator. And a lot of these kids come from money because, it's a very nice place. And so they've already attracted $2 million in stake. What the fuck?
Wow. I mean, crazy. It makes so much sense though. Like, we need, I mean, if you know the right people and you educate them about the opportunities here, they're like, okay, 7% APY, that's actually pretty good. Like in TradFi you just don't get these APIs with this amount of risk level, because the risk level by now is pretty decent when it comes to validating. Like the only risk you're really having here is that you're that the Solana blockchain capitulates, right? So
yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. It's like it's not smart to get into validators or staking or liquid staking if you don't believe in the core thesis. And the core thesis is very simple: Solana go up, right? Like you believe that this network is here to stay, that institutional capital will come. You believe that the consumers are here. You believe that billion-dollar businesses will be built on Solana. If you believe in all those things, then you probably also believe that Solana's price will go up. And so therefore, Solana's inflation is at like what, 11%, if I'm not mistaken, 11%. I forget. Sorry. But the point being is that the inflation is so, but the inflation is so high that you need to capture fees, right? Like you need to capture emissions. You need to capture MEV because otherwise, like you're just bleeding money. Like your SOL exposure, it's better for you to have a yield bearing component to it. And so like this is a very giga-brained Chad move that Brooklyn Technical High School, led by Nick, who is the CEO. He says he's 18 and pre-rich. What the heck? He's the CEO of Sharks Node.
18
and pre-rich. Dude, I was not doing shit when I was 18. I don't know about you, but I was like figuring my life out. I was hanging out with my friends. I was not running a validator. That is absolutely nutso. But yeah, congratulations over to Brooklyn Technical High School for running I guess the first node operated by not by a public school, but like kind of by students at a public school ever, I believe.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It is cool. It's cool. Yeah, we need more of that.
So we kind of covered this news last week very briefly in the highlights, but like we didn't actually have the conversation. And I thought that was a shame because I actually really love this project, and I think you do too because it's run by a fellow Drake, which is why I would love to give you the honors if you don't mind, because Drake's on top, right? So first of all, for those in the audience who've been living under a rock and have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, what are the Drakes, Simon? What's the den?
The Lucid Drakes is the best startup society on Solana. That's how we call ourselves actually these days. So it's a group of founders that managed to acquire an NFT that's pretty exclusive. Only 69 NFTs out there, 2 more to mint. And benefits of being a Drake are obviously access to the den, which is this exclusive circle of founders. And it's a great place to make valuable friendships between builders on Solana. And you get help from all these beautiful chats. Whenever you have a question, you throw it in the den and someone's going to help you. Whenever you need an intro, you throw it in the den and someone's going to help you. Whenever you have a bad day, just let the Drakes know. They'll, pull you up. So yeah, it's a fun group. And it's, I think, probably one of the most exciting or the most exciting NFT project right now. And Igor, shout out to Igor, is the founder of Texture Finance, and not only a fellow Drake, but also building one of the most exciting lending protocols on Solana right now that are actually really laser sharply focused on lending and borrowing in a way that is a bit different from what we know from lending markets like Camino, because TextureFi is bringing independent lending markets that are basically independently from each other in a peer-to-peer fashion to Solana. And they've been around since a while already with TextureFi, but now Texture 2.0 has arrived on the shores of Solana land. And Texture 2.0 is, as they call, a new layer of capital efficiency on Solana with customizable lending markets and dynamic risk tools. And the only thing that actually matters here, what you care about, is APY, and it has actually very attractive APY. Like using TextureFi right now, you can get a really interesting APY in the isolated lending pools that they have. Each of these pools, as I said, is run independently with own assets and parameters that helps you as well to basically define your own risk profile, right? Because you can pick a lending pool or create a lending pool with risk parameters that differ from the other. And borrowers can then target their liquidity from pool by pool. And they also introduced a concept called smart vaults, professionally managed strategies that allocate capital across multiple pools based on performance and risk. So the smart vaults will basically just route your capital to the path of highest APY, which is probably what lenders are looking for when they put money in a lending pool. And smart walls also help you to distribute your risk, not only APY, but also risk strategically, without fragmenting the ecosystem too much. So pretty exciting things, and definitely something worth at least trying out. So you can head over to texture.finance and try out their new, most innovative P2P lending protocol.
Yeah, I think that smart vaults as well as isolated lending pools are a major upgrade to Texture. I know for a fact, speaking to Igor privately, that they have been cooking this update to Texture Finance for months. And so it's finally here. It's still in beta. Yes, it's live, but I'm really looking forward to see how they continue to evolve the product. Obviously, they've had a glow up with their branding as well. I am just so excited for Texture Finance. Igor is a stunning human being. I've also had a chance to talk to his co-founder, and his co-founder, not gonna lie, dude is a little hard to understand. And the reason why he's hard to understand is because he knows too much shit. So you ask him one question and he goes deep. He goes like way deeper than my ability to comprehend what he's talking about. But the crux, if I understood his co-founder correctly, of what he thinks about all day, every day is risk to the user, right? Like that's the key consideration that Igor and his co-founder have when building out new features for Texture, is that how do we reduce risk for everybody while still providing very attractive yields? So very bullish on Texture 2.0. Okay, so moving on to our next piece of news in the ecosystem, also something that we should have covered last week, I think. But actually, no, this was just a couple of days ago. I apologize. But our friends over at Venta, who work on all of the payment solutions in conference for Breakpoint, for Accelerate, for Solana Summit, any Solana conference you can think of, they run the POS terminals that allow you to make payments from your wallet into a vendor, right? So if you're trying to claim merch, or you're trying to pay for coffee, or you're trying to get some food from a vending machine that uses Solana Pay, what you're actually doing is using Venta technology. Here on the screen, we have our very good friend, Justin. Have you ever had the pleasure of meeting Justin?
Not really.
Yeah, so actually, Justin is from Singapore, and he used to run a project called Metacamp, which was almost like a precursor to Super Team Singapore. They're not the same organization, but he actually has done a lot of work in Solana building community. Now he is working as the CTO of Venta, and wow, the dude is always working. When I saw him Accelerate, he was perpetually just on his computer like that. And now they have this new feature called Bulk Credit, and Bulk Credit is a first extension program that supercharges the possibilities for advertisers and merchants alike. So what it does is that, it's not just about like unsustainable burn of like cashbacks and yield incentives. What they do is they allow advertisers to buy credits in bulk from merchants and then to pass those savings onto customers. So that's the flywheel, right? It's not so much from cashback, but it is from advertisers that are providing discounts to the users. It's a much more sustainable model. So this is about on-chain loyalty and reward systems that align their incentives with both merchants and the advertisers. So this is just one out of many innovations that are going to be coming out of Venta, but I really appreciate that they're using Solana to try to bridge together both, the advertising world, the merchant world, right at the POS system using Solana as payment.
Yeah, we like cashbacks, we like rewards, we like all this kind of stuff. Loyalty programs like Groupon and Yelp, they have been around and proven to be valuable. So I think it's a very interesting sector to experiment in. So good job, Venta, for diving into this.
Love you, Ghost. Love you, Kay. Love you, Justin, everybody. And also Isaac, miss y'all and hope to see you soon. Okay, moving right along, because Simon, I have 7% battery, so this is getting a little dicey. But now our friends at Jupiter have released Ultra API, has the token search, right? So you can use the API to search mints, names, or symbols. So there's been a huge upgrade in the Ultra API. Huge shout out to, I think his name is Konstantin. I met him over in Berlin. He is part of the Jupiter DevRel team. There's so many different teams in Jupiter now, Simon. I'm having a hard time keeping track of all of them.
Yes.
But have you ever used a portal called Catalytics?
No.
So that's in Korean. Yeah, Catalytics. So there's this really nifty tool that kind of shows you cool stats about everything Jupiter. So like, for example, if you wanted to see what was going on with Litterbox, which is accruing all the fees from revenue, like they show you all the information that you could possibly want about Jupiter, even like stuff like governance. You can see the different addresses, how much size they have, how many people per category. So this same team is also the team that runs DevRel for Jupiter, and they're constantly making improvements to simple things like the API, which you might think is like, well, isn't that all figured out? It's like, no, it's like you need developer feedback. You need to be understanding what developers need. And so there are constantly upgrades to Jupiter's products and services that make it easier for developers to build on top of. And speaking of making things easier, Jupiter has a new homepage. Did you see?
Yes, I saw. Of course, I saw. UI update in the house. Completely redid the whole setup of what we already kind of thought is going to be forever good, because it was actually pretty good. But they decided to give a little revamp. Community has opinions on the homepage as always. You get good ones, you get bad ones. What's yours? What do you think about the new landing page of Jupiter here?
I think that the original homepage was perfect for what Jupiter was, just swap UI, right? This new homepage is better for what Jupiter is trying to be in the future, right?
Yeah.
That being said, it still has a long way to go, right? But that's not, I would say, like, I don't have any issue with this version of the homepage. I'm just simply saying that, like, everybody is judging this based on, like, I mean, it's the first iteration, guys. Like, fucking relax. It's, but I think it's a very good first iteration, and it better represents what Jupiter has become.
Sure.
Swaps, pro token trading, right? Alpha scan for different tokens, perps, lend, the mobile product, portfolio. I mean, Jupiter is a true juggernaut now with so many products and services, and the previous UI was just not working. But now, this new UI, the Solana Super App, it's so good. What's up?
It's a directional move that you can actually see from here, right? We're basically ending the era of Jupiter, the DEX aggregator, and we're entering the era of Jupiter, the Solana Super App, because that's literally what they have become by integrating all these new beautiful products, like Portfolio, which is it is a company itself alone, standalone. They acquired it, but now it's part of the whole product, and it makes a lot of sense. And then there's the thing is, like, they're not done even, like there's so much more coming. Obviously JupeNet, I think, is gonna blow a lot of people's minds once this is out, but this is still future music. But for now, I think what we can focus on are the things that are live right now that you can see here in the bar, but then also things that will come very, very soon, like the new Jupiter creator coin product that we don't, it's not officially live yet. Jupiter Studio has been discussed on the timeline already since 1 or 2 weeks, with the first launch was trialed a while back. But it's gonna bring a launch pad experience similar to Moonshot, what Moonshot did last week, but also similar to what Pump is doing since a while, to Jupiter for the Jup community, and also with some learnings that we saw in the ecosystem baked into a whole new product developed by the chats from Jupiter. So that will be also placed here on the new Super App landing page.
Yep. And Simon, this is the last piece of news that we're going to cover this week, because I think I'm at about 2% batteries.
Getting there.
Jupiter Exchange has flipped 1-inch OKX DEX, CowSwap, Cetus, and KyberSwap in combined 24-hour aggregate volume. It's crazy. It's like literally one super app, one chain beats out everybody, right? Easy.
It's not even. And that's just, I'm so used to these news already that I'm not surprised even. It's like, it's sad, because Jupiter is just like, these stats, they roll in on a weekly basis. Like, oh, Jupiter most volume, Jupiter, like most revenue, whatever. they're just crushing the stats. That's insane if you think about it.
And another thing that I love is that this is Jupiter news. It's 100% Jupiter news, but look at the username.
Of course.
Solana news.sol. Of course.
Yes, sir.
.sol is everywhere. SNS domination. But yeah, it's been a pretty good dude. This is our most watched stream ever. Like completely organic. That is insane.
All-time high.
Yep, all-time high. We only do all-time highs around here. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to the stream this week. I apologize for the battery issues on my side. Simon, there is a 50% probability that my computer will turn off before we close.
Then let's do the outro. For everyone who wants to stay on, I'm going to look at the chat with you guys for like 5 minutes. But yeah, thanks, Eno, for being my co-host. As always, it was beautiful to talk about these news and also to record our special EP with Om, the CEO of SNS, which you guys can also watch very soon on our channels. So yeah, please make sure to tune in next week again when Soul Brothers are going to be live, and also consume our content on Twitter or on YouTube or also on Instagram by now, because we do have an Instagram channel as well. So if you want to be a Soul Brother, then make sure to just give us a follow everywhere, wherever you go. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you and catch you at the next one. Peace out.